.NET programming. In the last class, what we have discussed, about what is .NET programming.
మ్యామ్ జాయిన్ అయింది మ్యామ్ మళ్ళీ.
Okay. నేనేం acceptance ఇవ్వనవసరం అవసరం లేదుగా.
అక్కర్లేదు మ్యామ్.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in the last class we have discussed what all the concepts we have discussed in the last class. We have discussed what is .NET programming, and we had a little tour about how the Visual Basic will be working, Visual Studio, and in the Visual Studio we have run two small applications, two small web applications, that is desktop applications we can say, or not even desktop application, two small applications we have done. And in those applications we used Visual Basic. Using Visual Basic we have done two applications. One is what are the controls we have used? We have used button control in the previous class, and I think only the button and the label control. Using the label control, button control, we have run two small applications. Okay, so today, in today's .NET programming class, I am going to discuss about something very important, the framework, .NET framework, and the versions of .NET. So these two are the important topics, and after that I'm going to discuss about the theoretical concepts about the .NET programming. Anyway, you're already familiar with the .NET programming concept, like what is the software we are going to use for the .NET. Visual Basic. In the last class, we had a tour where how the controls will be, what kind of window it will be, what are the things that are existing with the Visual Studio, and all we have gone through. So today we'll have a little theoretical concepts which are very must for the .NET programming. Okay. In today's class, these are the topics we are going to discuss. Versions of .NET Framework, and introducing the .NET Framework Architecture 4.5. Next, components of .NET Framework, and we'll be getting started with the Visual Basic 2012. In that, we are going to discuss about Visual Basic keywords. Okay, so there are different languages we are supposed to learn. In that, we are going to start our syllabus from using Visual Basic only. So, .NET Framework versions. There are so many versions of the .NET framework. What do we call a version? Version is nothing but when there is something, there is already existing a software for which I am going to upgrade something. I am going to add a few more features to that. So that is upgrading. Nothing but otherwise we can say in the older features we were facing some problems, and those problems were rectified in the newer versions. So a version, if I say older version, newer version will have definitely some problems resolved, or some new features added. Then I will call it as a newer version. So likewise, our .NET framework is having so many versions, and as part of our syllabus we are going to discuss about .NET programming 4.5. okay, so let us have some history, let us know some future after and before, what this is 4.5 is having, what is the evolution of this .NET framework we will discuss today. And this evolution we are calling it as versions of .NET framework. Okay, the first one is .NET Framework 1.0. So as I said, in every version there is an upgrading. Upgradation is there. Before that upgradation, the initial version of the .NET Framework started with the .NET Framework 1.0. So .NET Framework 1.0 is having what? CLR, Command Language Runtime. It is having the version CLR 1.0, and the initial version was released in the year 2002, February 13th. February 13th, 2002 was the initial version of the .NET framework. And the .NET Framework 1.0 used the software called Visual Studio .NET. So if you have Visual Studio .NET, you can run your .NET programs. And in that, one thing, the .NET was invented by, or we can say developed by the Microsoft organization. So the Microsoft organization developed the Visual Studio .NET. So if you have this Visual Studio in your computers, then you can run the .NET programs. Okay. So in order to run the .NET applications, you need to have Visual Studio .NET. Okay. So the next version is .NET Framework 1.1. The release date was April 3rd, 2003. So in the next year, immediately after the 1.0, 1.1 came into existence, and the software that was used for this Visual .NET Framework 1.1 was Visual Studio 2003. As the version changed, the software is also upgraded with few more enhancements. Those enhancements are nothing but it has the built-in support for ASP.NET controls. ASP.NET usually we will use for web application development. So it is having the Visual Studio 2003 version is having the ASP.NET controls support. So there is support for the built-in ASP.NET controls. And it is also having ODBC, Open Database Connectivity it is having. And since the ASP.NET controls are there, obviously the databases can also be existent. Nothing but open database connectivity and databases. These two are nothing but the data retrievals, data storage is possible through the Visual Studio 2003. And before it, the prior version does not have those features. Next, the .NET Framework 2.0, and it was released in the year January 22nd of 2006. So released in the year 2006. It has taken so much gap. See, if we have .NET, ASP.NET, if you learn ASP.NET, that itself is you can say that you are very good .NET programmer, because ASP.NET is used to develop web application, as I said. Okay, so if you learn ASP.NET, you can make your future, you can make your career. Okay, so since ASP.NET was there was a gap. Since 2003, 2005, there was a 1 year gap between the new development. So .NET Framework 2.0 was Visual Studio 2005. Nothing but you can say 2.0 was implemented using the software Visual Studio 2005. And what are the enhancements for the 2006 or Visual Studio 2005? It is having the enhancements like ASP.NET Web and Data Controls. Initially, ASP.NET basic controls were introduced in the year 2003 and in the framework 1.1 and Visual Studio 2003. But in the year 2005, these ASP.NET basic controls were upgraded to Web and Data Controls. ASP.NET Web Controls, ASP.NET Data Controls. So, few more enhancements. And not only that, this Visual ASP.NET also has the additional features. I can say these themes, these are nothing but personalization of the ASP.NET. If you have, if you are going to design an application, that application can be enhanced with the personalization features like themes. You can set the themes, you can change the backgrounds, you can change the what do we say, web part controls. Another feature, web part controls is nothing but you are going to design your web page using some of the controls. When we discuss about the web part controls, you will understand. So new features are added in the Visual Studio 2005. Whereas the next version is .NET Framework 3.0. It was introduced in the year 2006. And what are the new features that were added in the year 2006 is nothing but the Visual Studio 2005 itself is upgraded. It was called like that. But what were the features that were added is WPF, WCF, WF, WCS. These are the 4 different technologies that were exactly introduced in the year 2006. These are the WPF is nothing but Windows Presentation Foundation. Windows Presentation Foundation. Next, Windows Communication Foundation. Windows Presentation Foundation, Windows Communication Foundation. Next, Windows Workflow Foundation. We are calling it as simply WPF, WF, but what does it mean is nothing but Windows Workflow Foundation. Okay. Next, WCS is nothing but Windows Card Space. So these are the new tools that were actually added in the year 2006. See, 2.0 was released in January, whereas in the same year, a few 3.0 is released. So, apart from these features, these four technologies were added and few more enhancements. These four technologies, few more enhancements were made to the 3.0 version. Okay. What are all these things? We will learn few things as part of our syllabus. We will learn these some of the technologies. Anyway, if we have time, we can learn all these features also, all these technologies. Okay, next, .NET Framework 3.5. The next version, it came in the year 2007, but it was named as Visual Studio 2008. What is this? This is the software we are going to use for this version. So 3.5 came in the year 2007 and it is implemented in Visual Studio 2008. Okay, so in this particular year, the ASP.NET is again upgraded. Already ASP.NET. You know, do you know the full form for the ASP? We'll call it as Active Server Pages. Okay, Active Server Pages is added with few more features called Ajax support and link. So this Ajax support is nothing but the web page is upgraded. Web page upgradation is done. Once we start learning ASP.NET, you'll understand. But I'll just give you an idea. What is this ASP.NET Ajax? Is nothing but this Ajax is not about. It is about upgrading the web parts. If you have a web page, you are designing a web page, so you need not to reload the entire page. Whenever you are running the application, you need not to reload the entire application because of this property. ASP.NET received Ajax support. Because of this Ajax support, it is going to retrieve the page very easy without you spending so much time waiting in order to reload the page every time. Okay, and also it is also having the support called language integrated query. So this language integrated query is also added in the year 2007 in the version called Visual Studio 2008. Okay, what is this language integrated query? Language integrated query. So this is also one of the features of the Microsoft developed .NET framework. What does it do is, it will add the querying capabilities. When we go further in our syllabus, we will learn what is this link is. You can make a query to the database, you can retrieve the data from the database. Because of this link we are going to query the data. The data that is stored in the database will be retrieved using some query language. You know that in the DBMS you have learned that. So that querying possibilities are available in the Visual Studio 2008 with this feature called LINQ, Language Integrated Query. The next version is .NET Framework 4.0. It was released in 2010 and the Visual Studio is 2010. So the software that was used for this .NET Framework is Visual Studio 2010. Usually everyone use Visual Studio 2010. Currently we are supposed to install Visual Studio 2015 because the framework we are discussing about is .NET Framework 4.5. But Visual Studio 2010 is installed in all the computers nowadays because Visual Studio 2010 supports all the features, prior features of 1.0, 1.1, 2.0, 3.0, 3.5, and also this .NET Framework 4.0 is the exactly prior version to our syllabus. We will be installing that particular software in our computers because it is the Visual Studio software itself occupies a lot of space in the computer. Okay, when it occupies lot of space in the computer, we will be facing problems with the systems get slowed, and some of the applications take so much time in order to load. So with that reason, Visual Studio 2010 is a comfortable version. If you install Visual Studio 2012, like here, 2012, you can also install Visual Studio 2015, like year 2015. So in the 4.6 versions and all will be having Visual Studio 2015. So if you install those softwares, the burden will be on the system and many applications will get slowed down and the system becomes slow. That is why Visual Studio 2010 is a comfortable version for all of us. If you are going to install anything, better go for Visual Studio 2010. No problem, my computer is having so much support, I can install 2012. If you say, you can go with that also. You can also install Visual Studio 2012. Okay, so the .NET Framework 4.0 is implemented with the Visual Studio 2010. What are the new features that are added? There are so many features added, but I'm only mentioning very few here. It has got improved security. This .NET Visual Studio 2010 is having improved security. The cryptography, you're having the subject this semester, right? The cryptography features were added in order to provide the safety to the data. In order to provide safety to the data, the Visual Studio 2010 is added with the improved security features. Also, it is also having the feature called parallel computing. What do you mean by parallel computing? See, due to parallel computing, let me give you a simple information about parallel computing. If your software is supporting parallel computing, means the computation and the calculations of many processes are done at a time and effectively. So this is what the parallel computing, because if you are doing computation means calculation. If you are doing computation with your application, because of computation, the web application gets slower, or the application gets slower. It takes time for the processes to compute. So that tedious work can be effectively done with the parallel computing. Okay, due to this parallel computing, if there is larger task to be handled by the application, it will divide the larger task into smaller ones, and each one will be separately at a time executed, which is called as parallel computing. Okay, Now, the first thing you are seeing in the screen is .NET Framework 4.5. This is the syllabus we are going to discuss about. .NET Framework 4.5, and its release date is August 15, 2012, and the software we use for this is Visual Studio 2012. So, what is the feature it is having? DLR, Dynamic Language Runtime. This is the feature that is added for the Visual Studio 2012, and this .NET Framework 4.5.1, which is the version of 4.5 only. 4.5.1, 4.5.2. These two are the versions of the same .NET Framework 4.5 family. 4.5, 5.1 and 5.2 belong to the same family, but few more enhancements added to the 4.5, which means that you are having the Visual Studio 2012 only. In that Visual Studio 2012, few more enhancements like dynamic language runtime, improved performance, like the performance of the software Visual Studio 2012 is increased, and the few more controls were added. Those controls were enhanced controls, and the data safety is improvised. So you can reliably you can store your data, or you can reliably retrieve the data. Like reliability in the sense, you can be sure about how your data is stored. Amma, 1 second. Are all there? Pujita, Gayatri, and Sridevi was there. L. Sridevi.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Gayatri.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Let's get back. So improved performance and reliability. The performance of few more controls were improved, and the reliability is provided to the data. Next, in the year May 5th, 2014, the few more uh, Windows form controls were upgraded, like it is providing the resizing option and expanding option to the forms or the controls, which was priorly not available. Okay, you can resize the few of the controls, and few more features were expanded to the existing features. Whereas in .NET Framework 4.6, it is also um, having two more versions to it, additional versions, 4.6.1, 4.6.2. Initially, 4.6 was released in the year 2015, and again, few more upgradations were done, and it is those upgradations were called 4.6.1. This is also done in the same year, but in a different month, November. Whereas 4.6.2 was released in the year 2016. Same, I did not mention it here. It is using the Visual Studio 2015. Visual Studio 2015. The important feature here is the JIT compiler, JIT, just-in-time compiler. Okay, usually the just-in-time compiler does the processing. What does the just-in-time compiler do is the conversion process will be carried out by the just-in-time compiler. That just-in-time compiler was added in the introduced compiler to the 2015. This just-in-time compiler is already existing in the .NET framework, but with few more upgradations, it is actually installed in the 2015 version. And there is called native image generator. The native image generator is added here. And what do you call by PDBs? Do you know what is PDB? Any answer? PDB. means plugged, DB means database. Okay, so these plugged databases were having the native image generators. These databases, already the databases are there. Whatever the databases that are existing, they were having the native image generators. It is another feature that is added here. And also in the year 2016, for the 4.6.2 version, cryptographic enhancements were done. And nothing but cryptography enhancements are nothing but the security is improved. Next, 4.7, .NET Framework 4.7 in the year 2017, whereas 7.1, 4.7.1 is in the year 2017, same year, but in a different month, October. Whereas 4.7.2 is in a different year, 2018. And here you see, these are the features that are added additionally. For the framework 4.7, object cache extensibility with ASP.NET. So for the ASP.NET software, the caching process was improvised. Caching was done in the 4.5 version also to the data. Here the object cache is extensible. Nothing but the extension for the object caching is made in the year 2017 for the version 4.7. And also in the 4.7.1, portable PDBs were introduced. Okay, portable plugged in databases. Nothing but the databases which you can add based on your requirement. Portable, which are small enough. Database is a hectic thing and a huge thing. These portable databases means easily maintainable portable databases were added to the 4.7.1. Whereas in the version 4.7.8, DSA, RSA. Do you have any idea about DSA and RSA? No one is answering. What do you mean by DSA? I think as a computer student, you should be very familiar with this. And or maybe you're having this time in the cryptography network security. So these are the some security enhancements were made in the 4.7.2. DSA and RSA is nothing but these are the cryptographic security enhancements that were made. Next, in the year for 2019, a newer version. Currently, this is the version we are having 4.8. .NET Framework 4.8 came into existence. Like COVID-19, this is also was introduced in the year 4.8 was introduced in the year 2019. Only you can remember it very well. What is the newest version of .NET Framework? You can say it is 4.8. After that COVID came, no one did anything and no other version may be added. So what does it do is the accessibility enhancements were made in the year 2019. Okay, so these are the versions of the .NET Framework. So next concept, what is the architecture? .NET Framework architecture. So there are so many architectures, but right now we are going to discuss about the 4.5 version of architecture only. What does the 4.5 version of architecture does is, you can design portable, scalable and robust applications. Portable, you can easily carryable, you can carry it to anywhere. Scalable, you can make any, you can either remove something or you can add something to the application. Robust, and you can design a perfect application, and that perfect application will be developed by the .NET Framework using the Visual Studio 2012. And you look at this diagram, all of you, this is the diagram in which we are going to discuss about the components of the .NET Framework. So there are very common components like common language runtime will be there, operating system. Some of the things, these are already, you can see in the first version, we have discussed about Visual Studio. The basic version of Visual Studio It is having the basic features. For those basic features, few more enhancements were added, and we are calling it every new enhancement we are calling it as a new version. So here comparatively you are seeing many things in this green. You can see oh, 5 features, and in this brown you can see 4, and this lavender you see 4, whereas in this kind of blue you are seeing 6, whereas here 1, here 1. Each color differentiates the functionality or the performance or the variety of the components. So here we are having very many varieties of components with the .NET framework, which means that they are having a specific feature. They are having a specific responsibility. Okay. So the first one is ASP.NET Web Form MVC Web Page SPA. Second, Windows Desktop Apps. Desktop apps can be developed using the Windows forms. Whereas ASP.NET, you can also not only web form, you can also develop the using the ASP.NET basic controls without the developing a web application. You can also develop a normal application. But especially if you are doing the web programming, ASP.NET is the best one to choose for the web programming. That is why using the ASP.NET, using the web forms, you are going to develop the web form application. These are the features that are added here. Next, Windows Store Apps, WPF. What is the full form for WPF? I've already said to you, full form for WPF. Do you remember?
Windows presentation format.
Someone might have written very good. Next, Silverlight. These are the basic controls that we are using. Basic functionalities of Visual Studio 2012. Next, ADO.NET Link, Parallel Extension, ADO.NET Entity Framework. These are all the uh, active database objects, I can say. Next, Web APIs, ASP.NET Web APIs, WF, Signal R, WCF. These are all the, you see, WPF, WCF, WF, one more feature. These are the 4 features that were added, newly added to the next version. Visual Studio 2008, I think, isn't it? So these 4 features were added, and we are discussing them separately here. Okay, so let us know in detail what about the common language runtime, the important concept of the .NET framework, a very important concept, common language runtime. What does the common language runtime do? It provides the environment. Whatever the .NET programs you are going to run, in order to run those .NET programs, the environment, the support will be given by the common language runtime. What does the common language runtime do? Common language runtime do many tasks. Now, if you want to, we will call it as garbage collection. Maybe I have discussed in the earlier class this garbage kind of thing. I said when you discuss about the CLR, we will discuss about the garbage collector. See, the CLR is doing the garbage collection. What does the garbage collection do? Garbage collector. Okay. See, in this COVID time, daily we are having the garbage collectors. They'll come to our house and they'll collect our garbage and go. Because because of this the rainy season and the pandemic time, so we should not store the chatta in the house. That is why they are taking and going. The garbage they are collecting. So likewise, common language runtime also has a garbage collector. Here we are seeing it also take care of memory management. You see here, it also take care of Memory management. What does the memory management means? The garbage collector does this memory management. What does it do? If you have few variables, okay, if you have some variables, or if you have few objects were declared and they are not used in the program, what happens? Once the space is allocated and it is unused, it should not get wasted. What does the garbage collector do is, it will make utilize of that unused space. If there is any unused space existing, that unused space is made very much made utilized by the garbage collector for the further uses, which means that the memory management is carried out by the .NET program's garbage collector. So it is existing in the common language runtime. So this common language runtime provides the functionalities for the programs to be run in the environment, and also the memory management will be carried out. It also does the exception handling. It also does the debugging. It also provides the security, and it also provides the execution environment. It also provides the safety. It also provides the compilation facility. So there are many activities that are carried out by the common language runtime. Okay, so the execution of the .NET code, execution of the .NET code will be carried out by the execution CLR. How it is done by the CLR is nothing but by providing an environment. By providing an environment, the execution will be carried out. Okay, so I just want to give you what does the CLR does. See, if at all the CLR, the functionalities of the CLR is nothing but, as I said, in Visual Studio, we are discussing about C#. You have seen in the practical example, Visual Basic, VB.NET, and ASP.NET. We are going to learn these are the different languages. The tools that we are going to use is VC++. But here, Visual Studio in this particular Visual Basic 2012 version, we are learning about C# and VB only. If a program is written in different languages like this, the program that is written in different languages has to be implemented in one common environment. Isn't it? When you see the benefits of the .NET framework is, we have discussed 4 benefits. In those 4 benefits, one of the benefits we have discussed in the last class, we have learned is that .NET framework provides the facility to combine, or the integration facility is provided by the .NET framework. How does that integrity? And also the code that is written in one language can be used by the, or implemented in another language. We are saying nothing but the code that is written in VC++ can be implemented in C#. The code that is written in Visual Basic can be implemented in C#. So what are the features that is making the conversion process? What is that? That is making the code written in one language to be used by the other language code. So this is what the CLR does, this functionality. Common language runtime, what does it do is, the code written in Visual Basic, .NET, or the code that is written in C#, the code that is written in some other language. If you have, there are many languages, the code that is written in other languages. All these codes will be combined into a code called MSIL code. What is MSIL code? MSIL. What is the full form for the MSIL? Microsoft Intermediate Language. Make a note. Microsoft Intermediate Language. MS for Microsoft, I for Intermediate, L for Language. You can remember it. So, all the code that is written in different languages will be combined by this MSIL. When this MSIL combines, what does it do? There will be a compiler called JIT compiler, extensively added in the version 4.6 we have seen in the earlier slide. Okay, so all the code that is written in different languages will be combined as MSIL code. MSIL code. What does MSIL means? It means Microsoft Intermediate Language. So it will be combined in the MSIL code. From there, the JIT compiler takes. JIT stands for just in time. Just in time. And what does it do? The just in time compiler converts into native machine language code. Whatever the code, wherever it is implemented in that language, it will be converted. That is why we will call it as native machine code. So the JIT compiler converts the code that is written in different languages into native machine code. Make a note of this, all of you. Okay, this native machine code. Using this native machine code, you will be able to execute the raw code written in one language into another language very easily. So this is the feature, important feature, that the common language runtime. Okay, that is why we will say that the common language runtime provides all the facilities that are needed for a .NET program to be executed. Okay. Next one is base class library. What do you mean by base class library? The base class library, it contains the functionalities, whatever the .NET framework whatever the .NET framework functionalities, basic functionalities, needs, all those functionalities are implemented and existing with the base class library. What does it do? It simplifies the computing. It provides the, what do we call it as, system.io stream, system.io text reader, input output functionalities. Next, text writer. All these are nothing but the simplified programming functionalities in order to read, in order to write, in order to make the input output operations. All these interfaces will be provided by the base class library. Okay. Next one is portable class library. Okay. This PCL was introduced in the Visual Studio 2012 only. What does it do is, it makes you to write assemblies, and also it makes you to develop assemblies and also manage those assemblies. What do you mean by assembly? Whatever the .NET framework requires, those assemblies will be developed by the uh, PCL, Portable Class Library. So the assemblies are nothing but these are the functionalities which are used for one particular purpose. Okay, you can say an assembly is nothing but a file, you can say. Whenever you are doing a task, this file is automatically generated. If you say I'm trying to compile my program, when I compiled my program, automatically that compilation, once the compilation is done to the program, and a file will be automatically generated by the compiler. Okay, that particular file in .NET application, that particular file is known as the assembly. So the PCL, it will enable you to develop such kind of assemblies. Only these are used in only .NET framework. Okay, .NET framework platforms only they are used. So what kind of platforms the assemblies are developed are Silverlight, Windows Phone 7. These are the areas, platforms where this PCL can be developed. Okay. Next, Managed Extensibility Framework, MEF. This is a kind of library. What does it do? Managed Extensibility Framework. What does it do is it will let you develop the lightweight applications. Like we will be calling it as threads. Like threads. Those lightweight applications can be developed using the Managed Extensibility Framework. What does it do? It allows the developers to discover and employ extensions without using any configurations. You need not to go for the set of configurations. You can easily develop a lightweight application using the MEF. Next, dynamic language runtime. Where is the DLR added? In the prior versions we have discussed. So the dynamic language runtime is nothing but it will provide the runtime environments. Okay, the using, excuse me. So if there are languages like Python, those kind of languages will be provided with the runtime environment in the .NET framework using the CLR, Common Language Runtime, along with the DLR. Next, WinRT, or you can simply say Windows Runtime. This Windows Runtime, what does the Windows Runtime do is, it will provide certain user interface functions. Okay, it will also make you utilize a few of the existing features of the Windows. That is why it is called WinRT, which means that the Windows stored features can be implemented at the runtime using this feature WinRT. Okay, so these are the features. What are the features you can use is Windows 8, Windows RT OS. These are the Windows versions whose features you can access. Okay, whose apps you can use at the runtime in the development of your application. If there is any necessity for you to use the Windows applications, those applications which are Windows Store applications can also be used, and that too in Windows 8 and Windows RT only. Okay. Next, ASP.NET. ASP.NET, one of the most important web development model, I can say. It will develop, the ASP.NET develops the interactive and data-driven web applications. Interactive web applications means it will let you, the applications will let you interact. Interact in the sense it will not talk to you, but it will give certain, like, when you're develop an applications, the interactive applications can be developed using ASP.NET, and that too web applications. And along with that, the data can be retrieved from a database. So if you want to develop the web development, web applications, that is, this helps in creating rich internet-based website applications. But online applications you can develop using the ASP.NET. Okay, and this .NET, apart from all the applications, ASP.NET is the important model which we can use either in you can develop application either using Visual Basic or Visual C Sharp. Usually in our syllabus we are going to develop applications using C Sharp only. Okay, next, Windows Store apps. Windows Store apps nothing but these Windows Store apps is also called as Metro style apps. These Metro style apps are added. This is a new app specially designed to run on Windows 8. If your OS is not Windows 8, this feature will not be working. If your OS is Windows 8, you can make utilize of this Windows Store apps. Okay, what does it do? It will make use of the already existing features of Windows 8. Like we have seen here, WinRT. What does WinRT does? Because of this concept, WinRT, we will make utilize of the stored apps of the Windows 8. That is what repeated here. Like I say, in the class, Akispak, Pakisak, Windows Store apps and WinRT are similar features, which is nothing but we can make utilize of the stored apps of the Windows 8 operating system. Next one is desktop applications. How does the desktop applications are developed? The desktop application, a common desktop application is developed using the Windows Forms. Like we have done in the last class, the two applications we have developed, smaller applications. These are the Windows desktop application. Okay, so the traditional Windows application which you can develop here using Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7. Okay, if you are developing using Windows 8, I think you can follow this. This is the operating system we are talking about. The desktop applications are developed using the Windows Forms. These Windows Forms are nothing but these Windows Forms can be developed in any Windows operating system. Those special operating systems are Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7. You can take any of these operating systems. In those operating systems, you can develop the desktop applications using the Windows Forms. But a new name will be given to Windows 8. As you have seen in the prior few features, Windows RT and Windows Store apps, this will be developed using the Windows 8. You cannot say in the Windows 8, I can say. Okay. Next, Windows Presentation Foundation. It is one of the features that was added earlier in a particular version, 2008, I think. Okay. So this Windows Presentation Foundation is nothing but it will provide some enhancement to the user interaction with the application, I can say, which means if you are using this WPF, you can create graphical user interface applications. GUI applications can be developed. How these GUI applications can be developed? These can be developed in the 2D graphics, 3D graphics, or multimedia. And the important thing, the best advantage of here, the WPF technology is that it will make use of the graphic cards that are existing in our system. The graphic cards utilization can be made by the WPF. Okay, but the key feature of this Windows WPF is not the Windows Presentation Foundation is that it will provide faster user interaction with the applications. Next one is Silverlight. It is a technology. It is another technology. We can call it as
Voice
cross-browser
break అవుతుంది
technology.
ma'am.
Avuna?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now. Okay, Silverlight is another web-based technology. I can tell it as like the previous technology WPF, WCF, WF, and all. Likewise, Silverlight is also another technology that was added. What does the important features that does it contain is that it enables the designers to develop rich internet applications. If you want to develop ASP.NET is used to develop the web applications. Okay, so the web pages with the rich internet applications can be developed using the Silverlight, which are nothing but the embedding features of the web pages can be implemented with the Silverlight. Anyway, it is also one of the internet applications. Okay, next ADO.NET. The ADO.NET is used in order to make accessing of the data that is stored in the database. So we can say the database interaction can be provided with the feature called ADO.NET. This ADO.NET makes interaction with the database and the user. It is a set of software components that allows the developers to create a data access layer to access and manipulate data from underlying data sources like SQL Server, DB2, Oracle, and so forth. Nothing but the databases, the data that is stored in the databases can be retrieved, can be accessed. That accessing provision is provided by the ADO.NET. Okay. Next, language integrated query or link. What does the link do is, the querying can be done with the link property, the querying facility. The data is retrieved from the databases using a query language, isn't it? So that link provides that querying possibility. Okay, it makes a query from various data sources that has SQL databases, XML documents, ADO.NET datasets, various web services using the Visual Basic or C#. Anyway, in C# we are going to discuss about this database connectivity and the database data retrieval from the database also. Okay, the language integrated query, the link is a component which provides the querying. Not only one particular variety of data source, it can retrieve the data from SQL databases, XML documents, ADO.NET datasets, like various web services, even from the website, from web databases, web services also you can retrieve the data. Okay, provided you should use either Visual Basic or C#. So, new entity framework is an extension to the ADO.NET. What does it do is, it will also provide extensivity to the data servers like SQL Server, Oracle DB2. So, when the data is retrieved from these databases, they will be processed and updated. Okay, the data will be processed and updated accordingly. So, an extension feature is added to the ADO.NET through the new entity framework. So, the object relational mapping is called ORM. The object relational mapping can be carried out using the new entity framework. Object relational mapping is nothing but it is a conversion process actually. So the data that is retrieved or the data objects may be of different varieties. Like there will be incompetence between the data objects. or the systems, types of systems from which we are retrieving the data. Okay. So when these different varieties, like you can see here, SQL Server, Oracle DB2, and in the earlier version, we have taken web servers. So the data is retrieved from different repositories. When it is retrieved from different varieties of repositories, the ORM, what does it do is object relational mapping. What does it do is it will convert the data between these incompatible types. Like web server is a kind of data store where all varieties of data can be available: text data, numerical data, image data, video data. Like if I say normal SQL server, the SQL server contains the data in the form of only tables. It does not contain any text data. I hope all of you are following. So the SQL server data and also the web server data, two different servers are approached for the data access. So what does the object relational mapping does is it will retrieve the data from different varieties. Two different varieties of data stores are accessed. When the data is retrieved from the two different varieties, it will does the mapping accordingly. The mapping process is carried out with this new entity framework, which will allow you, which will let the user understand the two. User in the sense you have retrieved that the two different features to be compatible to each other. Okay. Like I can give another example here. If I say I have a database, SQL database. The SQL database contains the information about persons. The persons means, what does the persons contain? Persons table or persons database contains information about the person ID, next person name, next person's address. So I will say this is person ID, person's name, and person's address. Okay. Now I will say the address contain a different information like the street number, door number. What does the street number contains? The street number contains some alphabets like 11 111 is the street number, or I will say door number. What does the door number contains? The door number contains some 12-326 is the door number. Okay. Now what does it contains? The pin code. What does the pin code? Some 5222, 00 is the pin code if I say. So likewise, and if I say, if I am saying address, it is involving, it is storing a different data. If I say name, name is storing different data. Text data it is storing. ID means it may store combination of numbers and text. Together it will store. Now what does it do? It will retrieve the data of different varieties of data will be retrieved. And the retrieved data will be made in ORM fashion. See? And to accordingly process and update the data contained in them in an ORM fashion. ORM means object. What did I say? ORM means object relational mapping. So object relational mapping, what does it do? These different varieties of data will be retrieved and it will be made understandable to the user. The user can be a computer system, it can be a computer process, it can be anything. It will made understandable by that particular process. Okay, next. Parallel extension is nothing but parallel computing. The parallel computing feature is nothing but whenever a task has to be carried out, a computation task has to be carried out, what does it do? The computation task will be divided into smaller tasks, and each task will be parallelly computing, processing. Okay. So here parallel extension is nothing but using this parallel extension, the developers can distribute the code or the particular, they can divide the task into different tasks, and each task will be separately at a time handled by multiple processors. So what does it do? One big application can be divided into smaller applications, and each application individually handled by the different people. So here that multi-processing is carried out by the .NET framework, and I am calling it as parallel extension. So it can distribute their code work their across various multiple processors. So the code work is divided and distributed in multiple processors, and each processor separately handles the tasks. And once, so divided task, multiple tasks are divided, and each task is separately handled. And once all the tasks are combined, again it is combined into an individual task. Pani milega. So different tasks are combined into one individual task, and this particular task is the, I can call it as, this is parallel programming. Once the parallel program is completed, again the code is combined and it is again sent for processing. So this parallel programming is carried out here. So this is the parallel extension. Okay. Next, Windows Communication Foundation. Windows Communication Foundation, what does it do? Nothing but the data can be distributed or communicated from one end to another end, and that is done by the Windows Communication Foundation. Okay. Next, ASP.NET Web API is nothing but it will provide some services. Uh, it will let you create the services like HTTP, and it also, these services are provided to certain clients such as mobiles, iPhone and tablets and browsers, nothing but using which you can develop applications. Okay. Next one is SignalR. The SignalR is used to provide real-time web functionality. So whatever the applications you are developing, to those web applications, a real-time web functionality will be added to the SignalR. Next one is Visual Studio 2012. So see, this is nothing but the we were discussing entirely the framework architecture. So the last one is Visual Studio 2012. This Visual Studio 2012 is the software which is implementing the .NET Framework 4.5 features. Okay. So what does it contain? It is containing a different type of library of tools which will enable the developers to write, modify, and also develop applications. Okay. So this is the Visual Basic 2012. So let us start with the Visual Basic 2012. Generally, in the Visual Basic 2012, we'll start our discussion with the keywords. There are two types of keywords, reserved keywords and unreserved keywords. Reserved keywords are means that once you have that particular keyword in your program, you can never use that keyword in any other, in anywhere as you wish. See, you can see here, catch, bite, as, call. These are the keywords, and you look at that particular keyword. If you are having this particular keyword used in your program, you can never use that particular keyword in your program. So these are the keywords which are reserved keywords. You cannot use these keywords anywhere as you wish. I cannot use this particular keyword as my program name. I can use sorry, I cannot use this particular keyword as my class name. I can use it as program name, this external thing. I can use it as, I cannot use it as a class name. I cannot use it as a variable name. Cannot use it as a method name, object name. You cannot use anywhere. So it is having two kinds of keywords, reserved keywords, which you cannot use anywhere as you wish. Once these keywords, you go through all these keywords, it is having any number of keywords, and these keywords are used to do a certain tasks in the program. Whereas unreserved keywords, these unreserved keywords, you can use them as you wish. Like you see, auto, await, ANSI, distinct, mid, skip. There is also assembly, binary. These different keywords. These keywords can be used as variable name, as object name. You can use them as method name, function name. You can use them, but better you not use. Once it is a keyword, it is always a keyword. Both reserved and unreserved keywords, they cannot be used in your program at any cost. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Enti, now Tirumala is coming. Do you have any doubts? లావణ్య తిరుమల ఏంటి వీళ్ళు ఇప్పుడు వస్తున్నారు ఏంటమ్మా?
మ్యామ్ క్లాస్ ఇప్పుడే వాళ్ళకి బ్యాక్ అయింది మేడం, మళ్ళీ జాయిన్ అవుతున్నారు. ఇందాక నుంచి